Have you ever heard anyone say, man, don't nobody want to change? But yet at the same time, we're living in an environment that demands change. Hey, listen, my name is Donald Jenkins, CEO and co-founder of the Purpose Development Institute in Atlanta, Georgia. And I want to take you on a journey called the Essential Skills Timeline so that you can understand why you need to change in the age of artificial intelligence and smartphone technology. Now, I'm sure that you're probably just like me. Man, I've been doing this the same way for years. Why do I need to change right now? And that's why I want to take you on this journey of the Essential Skills Timeline, because change is a skill, and it's a skill that you have to master in this particular era, specifically if you're functioning in the role of a parent, pastor, teacher, coach, mentor, counselor, therapy, or you are a leader. It's requiring and demanding that you begin to embrace change. But I want to make sure that you understand what kind of change that you need to embrace in this season. So if we go back and look at the agriculture era, we can see how the skill that emerged in that season was survival. All we wanted to do was to be able to eat and survive. Then we get to the industrial age. Then it was all about productivity. Then we come up to the information age. It was about the internet explosion, knowledge. We had knowledge at our fingertips. And now we're in the age of artificial intelligence. And guess what? It's all about intelligence. But here's the thing you need to understand about intelligence is that intelligence is outpacing our development. It's outpacing, our ability to change at a very high rate. So now it's important for us to be able to understand, what are the main drivers that's causing us to better position ourselves to allow people to keep up with the change that we see with artificial intelligence. So now let's revisit the timeline again, and let's start with the industrial age, because now you can see that in that age, we begin to put the brains of a computer into a machine, with the central processing unit. Then we get to the information age. We see the CPU continue to grow, but now we see it everywhere, from our appliances to our cars. Then we get to the artificial intelligence age, and something happened. And this is called the blind spot. And in this blind spot, we didn't realize that the technology changed. See, technology is what causes us to change. We went from a CPU environment to a GPU environment overnight, and people had no idea what was going on. Now, you might be asking, why is that important for me, and why do I need to change? Let me go back and let's revisit the CPU environment again. In the CPU environment, we had the time to reflect and respond. We heard great messages. We got good advice, and we had time to reflect and respond, because in that environment, things moved a little slow. All right. Computers process content sequentially. And so we had time to do those things. We had time to reflect and respond. But as soon as we made the leap from the CPU to the GPU, the graphic processing unit, things changed. The landscape of parenting changed. The landscape of preaching changed. The landscape of counseling and therapy and leading people and mentoring people. Everything changed. That's the reason why it's important for you to understand why you need to change. So what happened? When we got to the GPU environment, now instead of it having time to reflect and respond, now it's time. It was all about engagement. It's all about engagement. And now we're living in an environment where people spend more time doing engagement activities than they do development activities. So in development activities, we reflected and we responded. But in engagement activities, here's what's happening. We react and we repeat. So the machines are engineered to increase engagement, to cause people to react and to repeat. So now you see why people spend so much time on their smartphone, because it's been engineered to engage. So now the more people are conditioned to react and repeat, the more it undermines their ability to reflect and respond, which in turn jeopardize our advice, preaching, teaching, coaching, leadership. It jeopardizes everything, because now the machine has more influence than people. That's the reason why it's important for you to change. But you can see on the timeline graphic, you can see that in the age of engagement, artificial intelligence, you can see purpose development begin to emerge. AI exposed the problem that only purpose development can solve. And that's not a statement that we use to brag. That's a technical reality, because we went from changing technologies overnight from the CPU to the GPU. Now the GPU is shaping people faster than we can say amen. The GPU is discipling people faster than we can do the benediction at the end of the church or take them to a seminar and release them from that seminar. The GPU is moving at a very high speed. And now we need to have a solution to allow our development to overtake the engagement. Purpose development is the only resource that addresses those specific blind spots that minimize people's ability to reflect and respond. See, now we got to restore that in the age of artificial intelligence. And that's the reason why you need to connect yourself with the Purpose Development Institute. Make sure that you go to purposefitskills.com/PDI. We have a catalog of courses on our online site. We're hosting webinars. We're training people, throughout the week, throughout the month, to begin to develop that insight, the skills that they need to function in a GPU environment. So make sure that you reach out to us, and I look forward to being able to discuss with you, whether you're an individual or whether you're an organization, how we can serve you in this capacity of artificial intelligence and smartphone technology.